unforeseen outcomes of setting up and running a classic car restoration workshop is that I've never got anything to drive. Seriously. And I should actually have foreseen it. It's a phenomenon James and I have called car scatter. And it can happen as soon as you've got more than one car, maybe a couple of motorbikes. You lend one to somebody, one of them breaks down somewhere, one of them you've left at somebody's house after a party. Basically, no matter how many vehicles you've got, at some point you leave your front door and there's nothing to drive to work in. Well, if you add in a trailer, a workshop, clients' cars, show cars, demo cars, company cars, your own cars, for me, it means I leave the house and regularly the Land Rover's gone, I've got none of my classics, all the company show cars are out working, and, well, that's what's happened today. Long story short, I'm in Oliver. I'm not saying Oliver is the last resort, but neither am I saying that I drive him very often. He is a little underpowered, a bit underdeveloped in the engine department. In fact, if you want to cheer yourself up ever, and Oliver's near, lift the bonnet and have a look. there's no engine in there. It's like they've got to put it in. It's sub 900cc and a minute unit. On the plus side, this precious, ridiculous little yellow car that I've owned for, I don't know, 15 years now, since I drove it across Botswana, still makes me smile. Makes other people smile too. Look, she smiled. No, she did smile. She smiled. Could have been wind. The honesty, simplicity, and practicality with which this little car was put together, well, 1962, that was a lot of years ago, still delights me. Nothing pretentious in here. I am a bit concerned, though. I mean, it always starts, this car. Most reliable starter I have or have ever had. But I'm a bit worried about how tired it might be, because we did a little sort of invited guests only launch event for the workshop. You might have seen it on the show. And you will also have seen that Oliver was driven to it by Neil and Andrew, who together, they're a sturdy unit. I did warn them not to crash, because if they did, it would just look like a tin of Spam with faces in it. They didn't crash it, but I think they might have exhausted the poor creature. I mean, a sub 900cc engine, it only had 46 horsepower when it was new. Trying to drag them up the hills of Herefordshire, I was a bit worried. You made it. I'll never tire of this car. Somebody said to me the other day, oh, you could sell Oliver for a fortune. And I'm sorry, yes, it's romantic and rose-tinted whatevers, but no, it's mine. And I couldn't, yes, I'm mad, but it would feel like a betrayal. I'm deeply and desperately fond of this little car, and that's that. But that's all right. Lots of people have a lucky stone or a favourite coat or their best old boots. You know what I mean? Those things that you just become attached to. I don't think there's anything wrong in that. My other favourite game is mentioning things I want to do to change Oliver. It always provokes a reaction. I'll turn him into a rally car. Don't you dare! Well, actually, when I was driving this car across Botswana on a certain well-known car show I used to do, I knew I wanted to take it home. Definitely. That was a given. It was coming home with me. But also, I thought, what I really want to do is paint him metal flake purple and put a small block V8 in, lift him at the back slightly and make him a sort of hot rod, but in minuscule scale. I haven't done that. I might. Can't promise I won't. It's my car, and whatever I do to it can be undone. I now own a classic car restoration workshop, so, you know, maybe what I should do is just repaint, restore him myself. A car magazine very kindly did paint him for me many years ago. They did it as a sort of fast restoration over a weekend, and it was cool. And they've put him actually in the original yellow. This was the Opel yellow that the car would have been in. But when I bought the car, it was a slightly more custardy yellow, which you can see if you ever dig out that old show and watch it. I mean, it's pretty much in black and white, it's that old, but you can see it's a custardy yellow. Part of me thinks I'd quite like to return it to that, and to do it myself, like in the workshop. Sand him down, prep him, the whole job, the whole thing. That might be what I do. Also, put him back on steel wheels with hubcaps, not on these little mini lights, which look cute, but they're... That's the other effect of having a classic car restoration workshop. One, I can never find anything to drive, and two, when I do, I start wanting to change it. Now that's what I call transmission whine. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's... Oh yeah. I think he's doing more of that since he ground up the hills of Herefordshire carrying 1.5 tons of Neil and Andrew. No offence, chaps. I'm going to put my elbow out the window. I don't know what that was, that noise, but it's worked. There. And I'm content. Slip it into fourth and settle into the cruise. Don't know what that rattle is. That's a new rattle. I shouldn't be surprised that Oliver's always such a reliable starter, because, I mean, he's only got 8 moving parts in his engine, and each of them is smaller than the parts in your watch, so it's going to work. I'd drive it across Botswana again, quite happily. Quite happily. That could be fun. I think Oliver is like a French car after 10 years, that French cars shed all the stuff you don't really need very quickly. It all falls off, electric windows fail. You don't need that, you don't need all of that. You're just left with essence of car. Well, Oliver started that way. They didn't even fit it. Decluttering. That became very fashionable for a while. It might still be. Well, that again, Oliver came decluttered. He's not cluttered with a 5th gear, with air conditioning, or a heater. Electric windows, carpets, none of those things. I sold my Tesla Model X recently to prop up the restoration business. And I regretted it in some ways because I loved the car and it was, you know, doing my bit, and for daily work I was not using up precious fuel that I'd rather use in my Mustang. But this is a green option. 1962, so that's nearly 60 years old. The carbon footprint generated by making this car is well and truly in the past. He sips fuel on account of a minuscule engine. It requires minimal input of parts, the creation of which generates carbon dioxide. This is actually a green car. Incredibly green. Oliver, you're the future, mate. Saviour of us all. I need to clean this headlining. I've said this before on Drive Tribe, but it's got little stars in it. They sparkle. It's like the Rolls-Royce headlining, but about £30,000 cheaper. But it needs a clean. Ooh. Honestly, it still has that same effect. This commute to the workshop just reminds me that, you know, it has a life beyond the TV show that we're making about it. It's great. That's about setting up the workshop, and we're nearly there. But the workshop itself has a life that goes on beyond. And I am absolutely determined at some point in the next few months, I'm going to take this little car in and restore it myself. It's great when a car's this limited. Every hill climbed is an achievement. Every mile completed is something to be celebrated. Special. I'm going to bowl him into this roundabout at high speed. Yeah, still got it. Nearly here. This is starting to feel like home now, this place. It really is. One workshop. Oh, lads are in. And busy by the looks of it. Well, there will be. There'll be work to be done today. And if you want to see what we do get up to, click the link in description. See you in there.